Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building. Is that the sun? It's the first Monday without Matt Eberflus.
Oh, yeah.
Dare I say, we may need a little, oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
What's good, Breeze Nation? We got a lot to get into on today's episode. 3 names were given to replace Matt Eberflus over the football weekend. And listen, I'm not a fan of a couple of them. We got to break down who some of those names are, what would they bring to the Chicago Bears, and really kind of just where this team is looking. We talked about it yesterday on the show as well, that they want a leader of men, JC. Oh,
they want a leader of men.
Big names, dog. We're looking for a guy who's going to be able to go out there and point in a direction, and those men will follow.
Oh, how surprising.
The date is 12/2/2024. It's 7:04 in the morning, and I have it on good authority that Kyle Shanahan stabs seals.
Oh!
Got to get that guy out of there, man. Terrible guy, dog. Hey, big vibe.
Bring him to the shot.
Got to get that guy out of there, dog. Not a good dude, man. Just not a good dude.
Crazy.
You can't trust him, bro.
Constantly killing animals. Chickens.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The more I want him as the Bears head coach, the worse his crimes become. That's kind of the path we're going down here.
Jesus. Oh boy.
Breeze Nation, what's good, man? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I need y'all to go ahead and do me a favor and
Oh yeah, let's celebrate. It is time to celebrate.
Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push the button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Push the doggone button, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Also, JC, 100 in a chair. There we go. It's a meaty Monday morning. I'll tell you that much right now. Listen, a lot of Bears fans excited about the Chicago Bears moving on from Matt Eberflus, but now the question is, who are you going to get to replace him? Of course, Thomas Brown stepping in as the interim head coach right now.
That's right.
He's got a good chance. You go out there, you win, you show you're a leader of men.
That's right.
Oh boy, if this guy points in a direction and men follow, I'm there with him. Oh, would you have called Jeffrey Dahmer never mind, don't worry about
Whoa.
Oh, too far? Was that joke? It's early in the morning. I apologize. No, but listen, we got a few different reports over the weekend. All 3 interesting names. I don't know if I love all 3 names, but all 3 are interesting names. It's so worth talking about. Let's start off with this one. Peter Schrager was on Fox yesterday when he was, of course, previewing the football games that were coming on. A lot of good football yesterday. I sat there basically and watched all of it. The day the Bears don't play to ruin my day. Those are good days. But he brought up a name of a surprise candidate that you might have to watch for with this Chicago Bears team, and that name was Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman. I mean, listen, when you talk about going from somebody at the beginning of this season who was basically viewed as the guy who was ruining the Notre Dame program because of a loss to Northern Illinois that to this day, I still don't know how they lost that game. Northern Illinois, I don't think has won a game since then. They have not been a good football team, but slowly but surely trying to fight their way back into dominance out here.
No.
I don't know when that was, but Marcus Freeman's name to me now skyrocketing up because Notre Dame is having a great season outside of that one loss. Notre Dame has really shown that they've come together after a devastating loss. I mean, the fight has been tremendous this season. Of course, they're in the FBS Independent, so you're not seeing it kind of feels like same old Notre Dame, right? Like they're going to get to a playoff game and you're just going to go, okay, but are you good? We're up, and they got slaughtered. But sitting at 11-1 right now, you can't have that conversation. Outside of that one loss, they have been everything you've hoped for and more from a college football team. And that points to the coach being able to pull them back together after one of the worst losses in school history.
Mm-hmm.
You also look at Marcus Freeman, somebody who played the game, came up through the game, wasn't a star type player, but was drafted by the Chicago Bears in 2009. We know that Ryan Poles has an affinity for guys who have been a part of the Chicago culture and understands what it means to be in Chicagoland and be
a baby
fan. We know, right? So like, those are the things that I think are possibly why Ryan Poles would look at Marcus Freeman, but I mean, he's kind of the hot college name right now. Is that the path you want to go down?
Simply put, I'm good. But if we're going to give a little bit more detail, I'm just going to come right out and say it. Marcus Freeman, probably a nice guy, probably does well with pets, doesn't stab seals at all.
Stab seals. I have heard he doesn't stab seals.
I'd rather have the seal stabber if it was my choice. I'm just saying. But no, Marcus Freeman is a name that's obviously hot, around NFL circles. And, obviously the Bears would be one of those teams that would be an option. But my biggest question mark is, when you look at a college coach, the talent and the level of coaching and the level of competition, the level of discipline and detail is heightened when you get to the NFL. We've seen those type of college coaches who have been very successful at that level come to the NFL and not be so successful. And the biggest name that comes to mind is Nick Saban. Nick Saban is a legendary college coach, but when he came to the NFL, he didn't do so well. As far as I remember, and that's why he went back to the college ranks and did what he had to do. I'm not high on the shiny names from college. I'm high on the shiny new toys from the NFL, from such as the OCs and the DCs that haven't had a head coaching, a position, because they have still been around the game. They see the game. They have called a NFL offense. They have called a NFL defense.
Yeah.
Even special teamers, or tight end coaches. Like, those are the names that you want. And Marcus Freeman, like you said, there has been a recovery with Notre Dame as far as from dating back to the NIU loss, which was bad. But at the same time, also another question is, does he even want to go? Now that he is a part of that, ingrained in that Notre Dame culture and that tradition. Yeah. Is there a question of whether or not he even wants to make it or take the next step to the next level? But as for me personally, I'm good on that name. I know that's a hot name, but I'd keep him at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we saw the kind of that list of, the Bears coaching candidates who were the odds-on favorites. Joe Brady was leading that list last that we had checked in with it. Marcus Freeman, to me, he doesn't register on that list of names to me. Now, listen, it's not to say that I don't think that Marcus Freeman is a good head coach at the college level, but that's a big jump. That's a quick jump, and I don't think that he's doing anything spectacular that's all on him outside of, I guess, if we're following down the Bears path, right now he is being a leader of young men at the right now he's being a leader of young men at the college level, and he's rallied his team around him, and they are following him through everything and embodying the personality that he's putting into the team. I understand why the name would pop up. I just think that, once again, right, are you bargain bin shopping?
Mm-hmm.
And talent-wise, I'm not saying that Marcus Freeman is a bargain bin talent. I do think that there's some talent that could translate to the NFL, especially when you talk about leadership qualities. But you have to have those leadership qualities maintained when all of a sudden you're standing around a lot of people who are making a heck of a lot more than you are.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to lead when dudes are walking into that building going, listen, we got the last dude up out of here. We can get you up out of here. This is not a great situation to be walking into, and you got to make sure you know your stuff. You got to make sure you know what you're doing, and you have to be somebody that these players are going to respect at all costs. Your standards cannot falter in the slightest. I just don't know if he's ready for that at the NFL level yet. And I think it would be bargain bin shopping again, because we have guys on the list of coaches who we know are. Right? Like we know some of these guys can be head coaches at the NFL level. We've seen it. We've seen what they've been able to do. We've seen the Mike Vrabels. We've seen the Bill Belichick's. We've seen even the NFL coordinators, right? At a certain point, you are leading a group of men on one side of the ball there. We've seen Ben Johnson be able to do that. Those are things to me that I think you have to I would rather have the guy that's already done it than taking another experiment, especially with a second-year quarterback, when you have to get this right, because we're not swapping 15 OCs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? He's already heading towards his third OC if we swap guys around yet again. I want the guy in there that's going to be the long-term guy. I just don't know if that's going to be Marcus Freeman. And I don't know if you're Ryan Poles, are you willing to take that chance?
Yeah, and again, that is the exact word that I don't want to hear. I don't want chances. I want something that is solidified, that is absolute in the NFL. And I like this comment from Steely here. He says we need a coach with NFL experience, not someone who can't even win in college. And that's just straight facts. Like, I don't want to take a chance on someone who just looks the part and, okay, well, he's developing there in college, and he looks like the shiny new name. Okay, let's try him out. No, we talked about it yesterday. If Kevin Warren is going to be leading this charge to try and bring in a name, if Thomas Brown doesn't work out and if they don't give him a real chance at getting the actual head coaching position, I want the best. There is no bargain bin shopping with head coaches anymore. You want a leader of men that is actually known as a leader of men. That's why we bring up names like Mike Vrabel. That's why we bring up names like Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick, people that have been there and done that. I don't want the guy that has never, ever been there and done that. Like you said, it's not a leader of men. This dude is a leader of young men. This dude is a leader of kids that are developing into young men. I know you got to watch that there. But
leader of
I'm
kids
just saying, hey, facts, Steve-O. Mike Vrabel or the table. A little rhyme there. Mike Vrabel or the table. Seriously, what are you going to choose? You want somebody that is known to has put his stamp on the NFL, has been successful at the NFL level, is a voice that is respected in the locker room, has that resume already. Can you say that about Marcus Freeman in any of that? No, you can't. So will he be a name on the list? Possibly, maybe. But like I said, he's way at the bottom for me. The outcome of this, it should be a NFL coach. It should absolutely be an NFL coach with NFL experience.
To me, he fits, and this is the part that I hate about it. He fits a lot of what Ryan Poles likes, though. And that's what gets scary, right? By the way, if you're in here right now, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, man. He fits a lot of what Ryan Poles embodies in a lot of ways with how he's building his team. Think about it. An NFL player who is an underdog type of player, although I guess he wasn't an underdog. He went to Ohio State. But, still kind of an underdog because I forget what the Bears drafted him. I do remember him, but he was drafted in the 5th round, so an underdog kind of player, right? Works his way up through the coaching ranks, becomes the head coach at Notre Dame. He's overperforming in some ways. He's gone through his struggles. He's a failed NFL. I'm not going to say failed. He made the NFL. Realistically, he retired because of a heart condition. So, but he didn't make it as an NFL linebacker, right? Like all of these things. And then you go, sounds like Braxton Jones. That's how it feels. Sounds like
there's a cap Jones. There. There's a limit.
Is he the coaching Karana Magaji? You know what I mean? Like that's the part where I do go, ugh, this might be a little bit of a layup. We might be, like when you're like, there's no way they go down that path, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
Oh man, we're going
Guys,
down that path.
right?
That's the path.
Hello?
They're walking down that path already. Yeah.
It does feel a little too polsy. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can say
Polsy is
that.
definitely right.
It feels a little too polsy. Shout out to Paulie G with the super chat. No college coach. Get Ben Johnson or an established coach.
Dang right.
Well, I don't know if I'm with you on Ben Johnson, but we do have to have the conversation.
Oh, you're out on Ben?
About Ben Johnson.
Wow.
I'm not out on Ben.
Wow.
Just feel like you really got to know about Ben. Now, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love, man. If you have not done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about Marcus Freeman as the Chicago Bears' next head coach? Let's keep this thing moving along. Very lukewarm. Very lukewarm. Let's keep this thing moving along, man. Is Ben Johnson was another name brought up yesterday by the Chicago Bears narratives that are being put out there. Adam Schefter throwing Ben Johnson out there as a name that the Chicago Bears could be in on. And dare I say, maybe Ben Johnson is back in on the Bears. I think that, listen, Shefty's kind of, let's be real, for lack of a better term, jerked us around with Ben Johnson. Because remember, it's like he's all in on Ben Johnson. No. Ben Johnson has no interest in the Chicago Bears, and now we're right back here. Oh, Ben Johnson saw the job open up. He's back in on the Bears. He said Ben Johnson could be a name to watch for. He's hearing that the interest is growing from Ben Johnson. Looking at the Chicago Bears situation, but he can be very selective on his coaching jobs. And everybody may want the Chicago Bears job until they actually get the opportunity to interview here. JC, hearing that though, Ben Johnson interest growing, your interest growing in Ben Johnson. Again, we just got an opportunity to see Ben Johnson in this last game versus the Detroit Lions. I love the schemes,
of course,
that we saw from Ben Johnson, but I was concerned with something we saw from Ben Johnson. But before I drop that nugget, what are your thoughts on the Ben Johnson back in on the Bears possibly?
Well, I tell you, Adam Schefter has a way with words. That's what I'm looking at, because I mean, if you really dive into some of the things he says, he really doesn't say a whole lot of anything. I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, they may have interest, if they convince him, or he may be back in, and that's what I'm hearing from my sources. Like, there's no actual solidified proof that Ben Johnson truly wants to be in on the Bears. But if we're gonna go with Chef, the obviously credible source still in the NFL ranks. Yes,
probably the most credible.
Yeah, most credible. I just love the analyst speak. To me, he's almost like the coach speak. That was the score, and this is where we're at, and told my team to stay together.
Ben Johnson, huh? That's what you got coming back here. Oh God, I want my job back.
He's better than me already. Don't even know. So my thing is, yes, Ben Johnson obviously has been the hot name for quite some time now. Even last year, he did say he was interested in the job. That was for sure. But this year, I feel like, when you're coming from an organization, and dare I say, the Detroit Lions organization is now one of the better ones in the league. You see what they put on the field, the product that they have on the field, from offensive line to quarterback to the running back tandem to the defense. I mean, everything is working there. The coach is somebody that is, the players have bought into. Biting kneecaps used to be a joke when we first heard him. And now it's a reality. Those guys have bought into the culture and to the way that Campbell coaches and leads his team. And so, Ben Johnson, does he want to leave that type of organization and come to a Bears organization that is in flux right now, that is in chaos, that doesn't even know what a leader of men looks like, that hasn't bitten kneecaps? Like at the same time, do you want to downgrade in your own division? Or would you say, okay, you know what, I would at least like to see some improvement from a team that I'm going to go to and head coach? That's the thing is there really a mutual interest from Ben to say, I'm coming from this situation. Yes, I may want to lead my own team, but how good will it be if I don't have these certain positional things in place? I don't have the offensive line I had in Detroit. I don't have the running back tandem that I had in Detroit. I have the receivers as of right now. I don't have the defensive line. There's so many what ifs on this Bears team that I'm coming into. So will I look as good as I look now? Or do I take a step back and become the Matt Nagy 2.0? Like, that's my scare as well. So Ben Johnson has a lot to think about. And yes, that has been a name for us for a while. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm high on Ben Johnson. That's not my first name on the list. I want Mike Tomlin 3.8.
This guy
here.
he's getting upgrades.
That's right. He is all new parts. I'm telling you, man. He's improving day to day. So I want Mike Tomlin to stay in the building if he proves himself. That's my guy. But Ben Johnson's a close, maybe second or third.
Mike Tomlin stuff is nuts, bro.
That's right.
It's like just black and has a beard, dog.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Feels a little racist. You saying they all look alike, JC? Is that what I'm getting?
Y'all look alike.
Oh, that's tough. No, man. Here's what concerns me about Ben Johnson, and maybe right. I try not to do the something looks so good, so you have to find what's wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? Where you're like, oh, she's a 10 and she's funny and she likes me. Is she insane? You know what I mean? Like, you gotta, you start to find stuff. You like sitting there, she's perfect. Why does she chew her toast from edge to edge? And then I don't like her. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like, but here's one thing that does concern me that I watched with Ben Johnson yesterday, or the Thursday game versus the Chicago Bears. First half of that game, we're talking movies. We're literally like top 5 movies from the 80s, top 5 movies from the 90s, because every time we look up, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are gashing us for at least, let me double check this, 6.9 yards per carry.
Oh boy. Oh yeah, Gibbs was over that. Yeah, definitely.
Jahmyr Gibbs had 7 carries for 11.9 yards per carry. David Montgomery had 13 carries for 4.5 yards per carry.
Jesus.
And I think that got killed a little bit because he got stuffed on 2 of his last carries. He was at 6.6 before that.
Yeah.
In the second half, Jahmyr Gibbs had 2 carries for 4 yards. David Montgomery had 8 carries for 30 yards. There was no reason to go away from what was working. The Bears still couldn't stop the run. Now, they were getting after Monty a little bit more. They were selling out a little bit more, right? But you went away from something that was unstoppable completely. That scares me. That is a Matt Nagy mindset. That is a I'm gonna figure it out over you. And guess what? By the end of the game, and it's not to say this is one game, this is not the end of the world, but by the end of the game, we're sitting there with a chance to win this game because of some questionable decision making in the second half. We shouldn't have been in that game. It was 16-0. Like, they shouldn't have stopped scoring at any point. And yet you kind of just you allowed that defense to get back in the game and kind of get themselves back established. And to me, those are the moments where I look at a coach and I'm like, okay, this is a game. And he hasn't had many of these games this season. 11-1. They've been eviscerating teams. The real question is, when things get tough, who's the coach you get? Right? Everything was tough for Matt Eberflus. So you got to see the coach you got. When things get tough for Ben Johnson, who's the coach that I'm going to get?
Yeah.
That's the real question that I have. And I don't know if that's the same guy as when things are hunky dory and you got Panay Sewell dropping out to the right, throwing the football in the air.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? But he doesn't throw it because he's like, I'm a freaking left tackle. What am I doing out here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a good call out. I didn't even think about the game versus them and just the second half and what they went to versus what they were going to in the first half. And maybe part of me thinks, because of the fact that the run game was working so much, and the run game is it's like the part of the game that you want to work, but it's not flashy, right? It's not fun. It doesn't look fun. It's not exciting. It isn't the 50-yard throw down the field. And I feel like Ben Johnson is that type of offensive play caller, where he wants to see the explosive plays. He wants to see the special plays. We talked about offensive coordinators before, kind of trying to stand out and be unique and do something different. Running the ball isn't unique, isn't creative. It's what actually more times than not wins you the game when it's successful, because you can continue to just, trot out there David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs back to back all day, which is what was happening.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe somewhere along the line, Ben Johnson was like, all right, this is getting boring. Let me switch it up. Maybe that's the case. Maybe, I don't know. But that does give me a little fear, because that's exactly how we felt about Shane Waldron. Certain things were working, and then he went back to his old crazy, quirky, whatever play calling. He wanted to see those screens work. Oh, yeah, let me give you the screen that won't go anywhere, and a tight end screen that's blocked by a running back and a small receiver. Like instead of linemen, like that's what I'm saying, is maybe it didn't look as fun to him. And I'm just assuming, obviously, but when you have these OCs that are supposed to be, creative and innovative and the new hotness in the league, they kind of want to make the game look different. Running the ball all day isn't making the game look different.
I heard new hotness in a minute.
New
hotness. New hotness. Old and busted.
You knew where I was going with
That's
that.
Men in Black. I remember that.
Oh, man. Yeah, Baki went back to the Shakes. He went back to the Waldron tomb. And they got a tomb over there in Detroit. All right, which is I don't want to continue to run the Barry Sanders play.
Yeah. Now look, I'm not sitting here telling you that that's exactly who Ben Johnson is. Like I said, there haven't been a lot of moments where he's had to be a different guy, right? They've dominated teams this season. You've cooked, and even last season, right? When those moments you have to take into account as well. When you're in tough games versus the Packers to finish out the season, you're in games versus the Vikings to try and knock them out of or to try and put yourself into playoff contention. Like, it's not to say he hasn't been in those high pressure moments and hasn't performed, but we talk about the second half last year of that game where they absolutely should have gone to the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden we're sitting here going, what the heck happened here? You know what I mean? Like, that's something that gives me a little bit of pause. It's not something that takes me completely out on Ben Johnson, but the thing for me that probably concerns me the most is what you said. Like, what does it look like when it's not perfect?
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like when you don't have Panay Sewell? What is it? Because there's no Panay Sewell here. I tell you that much right now. Now, not to say you shouldn't be going out to find that guy. The hope is whoever you go out and get walks into the building and goes, all right, we need 5 offensive linemen stat.
Mm-hmm.
But is he the same eye? Is he the guy who was in the building looking at those guys? We always go, wouldn't you want the guy in the building that was a part of drafting those players and knows what offensive linemen look like? Do we know that he was the one that was there? Do we know that there's scouts on this team? It's not like Ben Johnson scouting each one of these guys personally. Do we have the scouts that are going to be able to get him those pieces for him to be able to operate in that manner? It's just a lot of questions around Ben Johnson to me, and I don't know if I'm all in on him as a name. I would take him over the next name that we do have on this list, though, because the conversation continues with the insiders dropping nuggets this weekend. A lot of nuggets dropped this weekend. By the way, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, man. Don't you give us that Matt Eberflus energy.
Oh, don't you do it.
We need Thomas Brown energy in the chat right now.
That's right.
Hashtag stabbing seals. Shout out Kyle Shanahan.
Crazy trend.
Ben Johnson. Oh, dang it. I put the wrong name on that. Oh, no. Pay no attention on that. Pay no attention on that. Ian Rapoport over the weekend. Talked about, I pulled a Joel.
That wasn't Joel.
Ian Rapoport talked about over the weekend how Kliff Kingsbury is a name to watch out for the Chicago Bears. Now, Kliff Kingsbury has been a head coach of an NFL team before, of course, with his time with the Arizona Cardinals. Didn't go great, but had his time with the Arizona Cardinals. To me, he is a name who I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I can't even sugar. I'm out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it gets figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Good teams figure Kliff Kingsbury out. I don't want that guy as my head coach. I just don't. I love him as an OC at times, but he doesn't win versus the best teams. He goes out there and sure, he can cook you up with Terry McLaurin when you're playing the Dallas Cowboys. He can cook up with who are they playing this Sunday? Sunday they played the Titans, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe Jaden got back on track with 3 touchdowns.
Sure, it's the Titans.
It's the Titans, though. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and not to say that the Titans are bad. Listen, I think that, you know, when you look at that monster of a man that they have coming up the middle there, T'Vondre Sweat, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it does make a difference, but
yeah,
every team this season that we have seen them cook against, we have gone very similar to what the Chicago Bears did, right? Everybody was, oh no, these guys, they can't beat good teams. You know what I mean? I'm holding that same energy for them.
Yeah.
You got cooked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You beat the Bengals, but the Bengals are dog water.
Yeah, they're going through a lot.
They've completely fallen off there. You beat the Cardinals, you beat the Browns, you lost to the Ravens. And Jaden did not look like the Jaden Daniels we've seen in that game. You were in a Hail Mary situation versus the Bears. You lost to the Steelers. That's probably Jaden's best game versus a good defense, but even that's right. 200 yards, kind of nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those top teams, I don't see Kliff Kingsbury win with. I don't see that offense show out the same way.
Yeah. I put Kliff Kingsbury in the Marcus Freeman tier. When we're talking, because you mentioned something that was interesting. You said that Marcus Freeman to you kind of feels like the Braxton Jones of head coaches, or the Karan Amagajis. Like I'll put Kliff Kingsbury right there with him. I feel like he's the Coleman Shelton or Ryan Bates. He like to me, there's a cap there. Like he's the try hard. He's a guy that is going to put forth the best effort. But he just can't get over that hump. He has so many things working against him. And for me, there's just a limit or a ceiling that he's already met as far as, his chance in the NFL, as a head coach. Like that came and went, what was it, 2009 to 2012, I believe, or rather 2019 to 2022 with Arizona. And so he's a guy I feel like that is better in the college, in the college ranks. Obviously when he was with Texas Tech, he had Patrick Mahomes. That's very good on your resume. Obviously you had some experience in a relationship with Caleb in college. But I feel like at this point, when you see the type of offense that the Washington Commanders are running for specifically Jaden Daniels, it's to utilize him at his strengths. But we've already talked about Jaden Daniels maybe being having a limit as well on his ability to let's just say take in an entire playbook or a complex scheme. and they're keeping it very simple there, which is why it looks really good. You know, you're throwing to one side of the field most times. You're one read quarterback for the most part. You know, those are the things that you're utilizing your mobility. Those are the things that I think Kliff Kingsbury can get away with doing well. But like you said, when it comes to being up against or going up against really, really good competition, the Baltimores of the world, you know, that you come up short. And essentially, even when you played us, we gave up four field goals and a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
And so that's my thing is, how does it look like? What does it look like? I'm good on Kliff just because I feel like that's just a name that's just been connected to Caleb. And because, you know, they have this working relationship and, you know, he said good things about Caleb and Caleb has said good things about him. You know, that's a guy that you think can come in the building and already have that growing relationship with him already. It doesn't have to be, you know, nurtured or evolved or whatever. But I'm good as far as being a leader of men. I'm good on a Kliff Kingsbury. To me, he would be the best option. And again, we're talking about at this point, you need to make the best option. All of these guys that we've talked about, they're nice names. They're good names. One of them is in my top 3, but he wouldn't be the first guy that I think about.
Yeah, I mean, and shout out to Emiliano Brito with Super Chat. He said we hired an OC to become our first head coach. It's got to be Ben the Pen Johnson. He's had years of success in the NFL, no college coaches, but I do hope McVay or Shanahan become options. Maybe. Let me tell you about Kyle Shanahan. And the more Kyle Shanahan loses, the more of a possibility. I'm like, hold on now, my boy. Maybe, just maybe, there's
just maybe. Oh boy.
But no, I think here's my only thing, right? Like, is the connection at USC enough? That's the only reason everybody's like Kingsbury's the answer, and he's doing this because look what he's doing with Jaden Daniels. And is the connection at USC enough for you to be all on him at an NFL level? And remember, we saw him with an NFL team. Now, that doesn't mean that that's who he's going to be. That doesn't mean that, but if I'm going to go with the guy that I've seen with an NFL team, why wouldn't I go with the guy that had success with an NFL team? Versus the dude that had what he go one hot year basically of 8-8.
Yeah, he had a good offense one year with I believe with Kyler.
But it always falls off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same very much the same. And you know, everybody for years it was, it's kind of 35 and 30 is his head coach. Oh no, that's just Texas Tech. Hold on, let me see if I can find the NFL. 35 and 30 at Texas Tech. And then you had 5 and 10, 8 and 8, 11 and 6, 4 and 13.
Yeah, very mid. Very mid. Up and down.
You know what I mean? Like I'm good. I saw him as a head coach. I saw him with at the helm for 4 years. Everybody wanted to blame Kyler Murray. He's the problem. He's not the guy that can go out there and run the offense. He's not. He looks pretty freaking good right now. You know what I mean? Like it was Kyler's fault for years, and then all of a sudden we're like, wait, is Kyler still talented? Mm-hmm. And I think I want to say that 8 and 8 years because Kyler got hurt. I gotta look that up. One of those years, remember, Kyler Murray went down. He break his collarbone, I think.
Mm-hmm. Kyler went down. Yeah, one of those years. I do remember that.
And listen, what we heard yesterday, the whole battle tested thing, the whole, the Bears want a battle tested head coach. I guess Kliff Kingsbury does fall into that category of head coach, right? But so Kyler got hurt in 21, which is the year that they went 11 and 6. So can't even use that one on him. But no, like to me, like there's just I would rather have a guy, especially when you have the candidates available that are out there, who has had the success that a Vrabel or a Belichick has had over a guy who had a hot season and no playoff wins.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to me.
It's about not settling. I like you have a chance to not settle. You've done something for the first time in the entire organization of getting rid of a coach when things have gone bad, and you should have done it sooner, but you finally did something that made sense. Do something else that makes sense. Get the very best option. Do not settle for something that just looks hot or looks popular or looks good or sounds good right now. You want somebody that has a resume of being having an impact in this league. And there's only a few names on that list. And the only reason, and again, the reason why I even mention, even with that, Thomas Brown at the top of that list for me is because he's already here in the building.
Yeah.
And so to me, from that angle, you're talking about just having consistency. So if he wins, you want to keep that going. But if it isn't Thomas Brown, I want the guy that has, like I said before, and I'll say it again, has been there and done that. These other options, they don't have the experience. Do not go down that road and settle for less.
And that's, I think it's funny too, right? Because we bring up Thomas Brown and everybody keeps saying, well, what if Thomas Brown goes 5-0? First off, Thomas Brown goes 5-0, very different conversation. But
yeah,
what if Thomas Brown goes 5-0 and you finish out the season 9-8? Thomas Brown goes 5-0. If this is the list of candidates we're working with, I'm keeping Thomas Brown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, this shouldn't be the list of candidates you're working with. We talked about this, right? Are the Bears kind of the gem of the coaching situation right now because they're going into this with draft capital. They're going into this with money. They're going into this with this next coaching search and offseason with options to improve your football team. A lot of teams don't have that. But at the same time, you've also been a dysfunctional organization that has fired 2 offensive coordinators, that has fired your head coach in season. It seems to have made the wrong decisions on a lot of coaching and different things. You know what I mean? Like, you're the Bears.
Exactly. Yeah.
And let's not pretend like people don't place phone calls and go, hey, what should I go here? Should I go here? Is this an organization that's worth it? Hey, the Bears have everything I need to go over there and win. Is that something that we should do? And people don't absolutely pick up the phone and go, no, don't go to Chicago. They will ruin you. That's just kind of where this franchise has been.
Yeah.
It's who this franchise has been. You're trying to rebuild an image. We can all sit here and say that we're the gem of the draft and we're going to, everybody wants to come here and we're going to give you the best opportunity to win. It all sounds great.
Yeah, until you get here.
But people in NFL circles don't feel that way about the Chicago Bears. They feel that they are a cheaply run organization that is run by the same management that is screwed up winning for years. Or run by the same owners, I should say, that is screwed up winning for years.
Yeah.
That's how people view the Chicago Bears around the NFL. It's not how the fans view it. That to me is where you start to get some concern in on, we've got this pick of the litter. We've got all the options in the world. You might not.
Mm-hmm.
Your best option might be Thomas Brown.
Right now.
Which may not be good. We'll see. But hopefully it is. We get to hear from Thomas Brown today, his first ever interview. I believe that's going to be on Cap and J Hood at 9 a.m. today. So tap in with that. Can't wait to hear from the new head coach of the Chicago Bears. Going to be talking about that over on the Chicago Bears podcast as well. Make sure you tap in with all the content that we've got going on over here. Also, we'll be back live at 6:00 tonight. So tap in with us on that as well as we talk more Chicago Bears football and everything Chicago sports that is interesting around the city, which is pretty much just the Bears. For Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. Peace.
I'm not going to lie. When you said that, I initially was like, well, the Blackhawks. No, not even the Blackhawks.
Did they lose 3-4 last night?
3-4, yeah.
They're scoring at least. There's
Yeah, but Dart got one, I think. Yeah. Oh well.
Well, we got those bull.
Nope, we don't have those either.
Well, how about those White Sox?
Nah, not even the Cubbies. Oh well.